is 11:11 o'clock, so it's time to coming out with another aftershock. So today we're going to talk about another intrusive, introjective video that I have to release before I release all the other good content that is gonna come. And I want to use more videos that have a real roadmap, so I'm gonna carry this piece of paper that will guide me through the video for more complicated and more structured messages, speaking about the Karpman's trauma triangle within the Hall of Mirrors. I'm just teasing. No, the message today is titled, "How bad is it to be good, and how good is it to be bad?" I, of course, mean the fact that in today's society, in today's world, narcissistic behavior is often rewarded, promoted, and narcissists can very easily, and psychopaths, undermine social structures and use power structures for themselves and hide behind the law instead of being held accountable by the law, especially dark personalities who are subclinical and thus running under the radar. At the same time, bright personalities, agreeable people who believe in the narrative of we, people who don't immediately understand irony, naive people who think of everybody else before they think about themselves, are often trampled upon. People look down on them, they contempt them, and take advantage over them because it's so easy. And then even people from neutral perspectives tend to blame these people for being a victim, so to say. Even though these people just follow a certain form of parenting where moral norms and ethical norms are transferred to the children. And further at school, children learn about social agreeableness, about how important the prefrontal cortex is, and social behavior, sharing and engaging in ways of communication that promotes finding compromises. And when this kind of people clashes with goal-driven, cold, empathically cold people that are manipulative, double-minded, deceptive, when these worlds clash, these people help to create situations that are very bad for everybody involved. In other words, how good is it to be bad, and how bad is it to be good? I also refer you to other YouTube creators. One of them is Gabi Kovalenko, who just recently made a video about this topic. I didn't even watch it yet, but I might provide a link in the description below, as well as Unsolsticed Advice, a philosophy channel, who is breaking down the story of Fjodor Dostojewski's The Idiot, who is a very naive, acceptable, bright personality and creates all kinds of turmoil and terrible situations in their life. So, I think we're talking about a topic that is there is a very thin line of what kind of accountability do we give the bright personality, the agreeable personality, the good personality, and how much accountability do we give the people who take advantage over this person? And there will be no way to find a recipe or final judgment about this, because when we talk about situations in life, we talk about unique situations of unique individuals. But in general, let me talk about experience of myself first. I experienced a situation where, from my point of view, I always act, or I am in my way. Let's say, let me pretend just to be agreeable, social, thinking of the consequences of everybody, trying to do the impossible. And I think I switched from this, I changed. So this is actually the heroic mindset or archetype of the hero that is immature. It's childish to think that you can get through in reality with this. This is why I switched rather to the warrior mindset, where you say, it's not possible to save everybody. My life is very valuable as well, so I have to save myself first before I can save others, and I can save everyone. And so on and so on. We're not talking about archetypes and immature archetypes or mature archetypes. We're talking about my personal experience. So when you de-escalate a situation where there is a lot of violence and coercion, as well as subliminal, subcriminal, subclinical violence, atmospheric violence, passive aggressiveness involved, and you de-escalate this, it's possible that the people who are manipulative, who do this, who even, let's say we have a triangle, a Cartman's triangle situation. So there is two bodies that are merged into one because they conspire. So they occupy the 66% of the triangle. And then you understand, okay, they are aligned to bring me down to get their goal. And you de-escalate the situation because you also subscribed to not using violence. Okay, so you say, okay, I will not use violence. And then you de-escalate the situation. There will be neutral people in the social structure, in the power structures, in the places of judgment, official caretakers and so on, who will have a very bipolar point of view. So if you would have crashed out and used violence in this situation, they would say, oh, you're one of those, especially if you're a man. Oh, you're one of those. You're one of those violent men that can't control themselves, that are dysregulated, that have no impulse control. So you will be punished by... But if you don't, they will say, oh, you're a victim, you are weak, you did not stand up. And this is why now you have to be thankful for everything that you have, and also you now have the responsibility not only for that what you did, but also what everybody else did to you. This is a form of victim blaming. So what should you have done instead then, right? If you not crash out and use violence and you not de-escalate the situation. So we are walking on a very thin line here. And well, what I can tell you is I can take responsibility for mistakes I did. I can take responsibility for everything that I did. Okay? But also I know that I never took the role of a victim. So if I have been victimized, I have been victimized. But as soon as I understand that I'm victimized, I reject the role, I break out, I say no, I go away. And now I feel like I deserve the chance to learn from it. I feel like I deserve the chance to say, all right, if I did not create and defend and maintain boundaries against people who don't respect boundaries, then well, I need to do this now. And not be put into a category where the people say, all right, you made this mistake, you admit this mistake, and now until the end of your life, you will have to live with the result of that, and you are now in this role forever. This would be absolutely stupid and immature, and would be a message that is not about me, but about the person making this message, okay? As a prejudiced person that victim blames. So, it's a thin line. So, well, let us just see the topic from different perspectives. I understand that every one of us is coming with a package of parenting, a package of education, a package of DNA, a package of personality, and this package is a naive state. At any given point, it's naive. We are all naive right now. And then we learn something about reality, and then we're not naive anymore. Or, looking back in time, we were naive, and then something happened and we learned something. So we're always going from a state of naivety into more maturity, which is called individuation, if we are not stuck in the Karpman's trauma triangle within the Hall of Mirrors. Because this triangle just keeps us in the place where we are. Because we're living then in a delusion, when it's a dysfunctional triangle, of being one role. We be something, and we never be. We always evolve, we're always changing. But when we say, all right, I'm the persecutor, I'm the victim, I'm the savior, we are stuck in a role. We don't want to be stuck in a role. We want to evolve in life. We want to react according to the situation with the weapon of choice at any given time. But we do not have any affinity to any role, or to any weapon, to any tool that we use. This is the human being. The human being is walking upright, therefore having the hands free, therefore having the ability to create tools. And the more versatile we are, and the less affinity we have for one tool, the more individuated we can act in the world and solve the individual situations with custom-tailored tools and behavior patterns. And we have to be ready to do unknown things in order to grow. We have to reject old roles. We have to leave comfort zones of doing the same thing we always did. We have to change the patterns of how we looking for partners if we want to have another partner. So let's say you have always done the same thing and always ended up with the same partners. Well, then, guess what? You have to analyze the pattern that you looked for people, or that you found friends, and do something that you have never done before. You have to do something that you don't know yet what to do. You have to go back to learn like a child, by trial and error, by do something you never did before, by using a tool by creating a tool and then using a tool, or trying a behavior pattern that you never tried before. Yes, a cold wind blows. It shows something, right? That's leaving the comfort zone. That's going out there. That's the energy. Using a new energy. See, your energy only comes, your life, your instincts, your DNA is only activated when it is having certain stresses from nature. Cold, heat, a problem, an unknown problem that requires an unknown strategy to solve. Otherwise, you're going in the same circles over and over and again in life. So it's a very thin line between finding out how good should you be, because we also don't want to go like bipolar in different extremes, which would be we trust everybody, we believe everything is gonna be good, we can save everybody. I just wake up with a very positive mindset every day. I just give my best every day, and this will lead to a positive outcome. No, that's not true. I tried that. It's not true. The opposite extreme would be I trust no one. I start waking up with negative thoughts of how I can manipulate my environment in a way that I will come up on top, which is this unhealthy competitiveness, where it does not only include that I get my goal, but also that the person that I'm fixated on, the person that I envy, does not reach its goal. So it's got this destructive component. And see, this would be another. This would be Machiavellian. Then I would be a Machiavellian if I think I have to win against a hostile world. Okay, I would be a Machiavellian, which is also subclinical. So I would have a lack of empathy. I would not look for compromise. And I also, for me, winning would not only mean that I get my goal, it would also mean that another person is humiliated or loses. So these are both extremes that don't work. So we need to find a way in between. A way in between. So of course positive emotions are healthy. So having a motivation, having the belief that everything will be fine, having trust in the world, the universe, Mother Earth, our mother, the trust, the feeling of trust comes from our mother, I believe. And having this, but not overly, so that you make, so that other people can victim blame you. So they say, oh, you trust everyone, you're too good. You're a fool because you're so good and trust everybody. And this is why you create situations. And then even the people who abuse you, who take advantage over you, will blame you. And even neutral people will blame you for doing that. Going to the extent of saying that you are the root of this whole problem. Okay? Yeah. So I believe I can give you a recipe for this right now. It's definitely not possible to have a recipe for this. I can just give you the two bipolar, the poles of this, the opposites, and we have to find a way in between, which also can be seen as the hero that tries to be agreeable, fully bright, always doing the right things, being virtuous, having a moral high ground, versus the warrior. Okay? No, sorry, this is not an opposite. This would be a recipe, actually. Oh, I just gave you a recipe, which means you have an idealized form that is immature, and you prune it, you modify it to a more realistic version. Okay, so the warrior is not always agreeable. The warrior is not always having a moral high ground. The warrior values his own life as well, because that's realistic. How can you save anyone if you're not save yourself also first? And so on. So we were talking about the extremes. So somewhere between the extremes of absolute dark and absolute dark and absolute light, you have something in between. You have a twilight. You have a twilight warrior. A twilight personality, okay? Because the bright personality will always attract dark personality, and then you cannot distinguish anymore who is responsible for what. And of course, the dark personality will tend to blame everything on the bright personality that tends to feel guilty for everything that happens around them anyway. And this enables other people to victim blame them too. So in other words, we need to find a way, rejecting all these roles of persecutor, victim, and savior. Okay, we need to create something in between dark and light. We need to also reject the archetype of the hero. When children play games, they might play the hero. When narcissists idealize themselves or others, which is the same, co-idealization, they have these fantasies, shared fantasies of being all good, or also, they have this bad object introjected, so they are caught in between these extreme, all good, all bad, shifting quickly. But this is obviously not healthy, leading nowhere. It's a self-defeating strategy as well. So, yeah. We need to understand, I think the takeaway here is to understand that too much agreeableness, being too good, is not the way. Actually, it also triggers people. It makes people literally aggressive. In other words, they perceive you as a victim even if you're not a victim. Natural confidence triggers people because you don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to show grandiosity, because let's say you have natural grandiosity, so to say, a natural confidence. You don't have to prove, you don't have to be noisy, you don't have to be the center of attention. Well, if you meet someone who has even slight traits of a need for admiration, a need for external validation, your calmness combined with, let's say, you under-promise but over-deliver. This triggers people. I have experienced it, that people told me it makes them crazy how calm I stay, and it makes them aggressive. Okay? So when you regulate it, it makes other people aggressive, and they try then to project aggression into you, which means they try to covertly evoke a reaction of aggression in you, because they want to see their own weakness in you, and it makes them crazy that it seems that you're not dealing with the same issues. You are more individuated, so to say. You are above that, but this is why they drag you back. And there is also, I must say, I feel like there is no antidote against the unhealthy competitiveness. I could make another video only about what I mean with this. What I mean with this, just generally speaking, is people who compete about everything, even pointless things, but pretend not to and do not commit to a transparent and fair contest ever. By this, they try to trigger you. They try to get you into a competition, but the competition is never fair. They rather try to eradicate competition. They try to compete, but in reality they try to destroy any competition by annihilating the competitor, you. So in other words, as an authentic person that is on a certain level, that is living a certain life, you must just stay away from people who have certain traits. Okay? This is why it's so hard to get away, to individuate, to evolve, to maintain your frequency, alright? Because people can easily coerce you back into a competition or in a form of might that they might have over you. And in this case, believing is believing. If you believe they have might over you, they have might over you. If they can trigger you, they can trigger you. And it's not easy to get beyond that. It's not easy, okay? And the world we're living in, again, is not a world of honesty. It's not a world of honesty, okay? It's a world of, I mean the world of men, the world of society that we create at the moment, the world of politics. It's a world of projection and image creation that has nothing to do with honesty. Just as a brief notice here, right? Good. So yeah, make your own judgment about how good is it to be bad and how bad is it to be good, and we must find a way somewhere in between. And I'm not talking about how to fit in, I'm talking about how to survive and thrive and feel safe in the world and feel good about yourself. That's the most important. So yeah, also self-awareness is important, because self-awareness changes everything. So as soon as you realize I'm too people-pleasing, I'm too nice, I'm too agreeable, people take advantage over me, this will change already. Yeah, this will change already. And being ego syntonic is always good, which means you have a self-awareness about yourself, you criticize yourself, but in a healthy way, then you change yourself, and then you kind of like the way you change, the way you are. So that's important.